Here I am as an animal. So these are some of the fun video filters that I can apply. Along with video filters, there's a new option in the bottom right-hand corner called Studio Effects. Let's click on this. Here we can apply different eyebrows. So my eyebrows now are even thicker than they were before. I could also give myself some facial hair. Yes, I did not shave this morning. And down at the bottom, if you've ever wanted to see me in red lipstick, I don't know why you ever would. Now you got your wish. Check that out. Tip number 7. You can drastically improve your audio quality. Now, when you speak into your microphone on Zoom, Zoom compresses it, and by the time it makes it to the other party, it's been compressed quite heavily, and it has a little bit more of a robotic sound. If you want a higher fidelity sound, well, you can turn on the original microphone sound. Let's go down to the bottom left-hand corner, and by your microphone, click on the up arrow. Next, let's click on Audio Settings. Within Audio Settings, let's go down and click on Advanced. Within Advanced, there's an option to show in-meeting option to enable original sound from microphone. Let's check this box. Here, when original sound is enabled, we can turn off echo cancellation. We could turn on high fidelity music mode, and we could also turn on stereo audio. Now, why wouldn't you just do this for every meeting? Well, when you use the original sound, it requires more computational power, it requires more bandwidth and resources from your computer. So use it when maybe you're playing music, or maybe when you're talking to mom and you want her to hear your voice really clearly. Back on the main screen, here now I have a button for Turn Original Sound On. Let's do a quick test to hear what the difference is. Right now I have standard Zoom audio turned on. It probably sounds a little bit more robotic. Now I've turned on original sound. Can you hear a difference? Does this sound any better? Now I'm going to turn off original sound, and here I am now back on the standard Zoom audio. Tip number 8, you can very easily get a transcription of your meeting. Maybe you're sitting in a long Zoom meeting and you don't want to pay attention for the entire thing. Get a transcript and you could simply read up on everything that happened later. To get a transcript, first off, you need to record the meeting, so let's click on the record button. Now, I need to record some text to transcribe, so if you haven't yet already, please consider subscribing to the Kevin Stratford YouTube channel. You get more great videos like this. Once your recording is all done, let's go down and click on Stop Recording. Once the meeting's over, we'll get the output of the recording. Let's end the meeting. Once you finish your meeting, head to the website otter.ai. Within otter.ai, you get 600 free minutes of transcription every 31 days. You can also transcribe up to 3 different files. On otter.ai, let's click on the button that says Import. Here now we can drag and drop our Zoom audio file into here. You can also drag and drop the video in, but that's going to take a little bit longer. Here I have File Explorer open, and here I see the audio-only file. I'm going to select this and then drop it into otter.ai. It's now successfully imported it. Next, let's click on Done. Now that I've imported my file, to see the transcript over on the left-hand side, I'll click on My Conversations. Here I can see the audio file that I imported. Let's click on that. Here I can now read a transcript of the entire meeting, and I can even play back the audio along with the text by clicking down here. So let's click on the record button. Tip number 9, and this is one of my favorite shortcut keys. Right now I'm muted in this meeting. Now typically what will happen is you might be in a larger meeting, someone asks you a question, and then you have to unmute for a moment, and then you mute yourself again when you're done with your response. It's a pain to have to go down here, click mute, and then unmute. Instead, you could simply press your space bar to temporarily unmute yourself, then you could provide your response, and once you're all done, let go of the space bar, and then you're automatically muted again. This is by far one of my favorite shortcut keys in Zoom. Tip number 10, there are a lot more shortcut keys than just the space bar. To access your shortcut keys, let's go down to the microphone, click on the up arrow, and then click on Audio Settings. This opens up the settings dialog, and at the very bottom, there's the option for keyboard shortcuts. Let's click on that. This opens up all the keyboard shortcuts, and 2 of my favorite shortcut keys right down here. You can start and stop your video by pressing Alt and V, or you can mute, unmute your audio by pressing Alt-A. If you want to change any of these shortcuts, you could simply click on it. So maybe instead of having this be F6, I can click on that and then press F5, and that'll update the shortcut key. Let's say I make a whole bunch of changes and I want to restore the defaults. I can click down here. I also have the option of making a shortcut shortcut key a global shortcut. What does this mean? Well, when I have Zoom minimized, these shortcut keys still take effect. This is a very quick way to interact and use Zoom. Tip number 11, you can share your phone screen in Zoom. You're not just limited to your desktop or a specific window. To share your phone, go down to Share Screen on the bottom, and right here there's an option for iPhone and iPad. Let's click on that and then click on Share. This opens up some instructions on how we'll share. I'll open up my iPhone and now connect to Zoom. Here now on my iPhone, let's swipe down from the top right-hand corner and then click on the screen mirroring option right here. This opens up screen mirroring, and I see an option for Zoom-Kevin. Let's click on this. Here now I can see my phone screen being shared, and one of the neat things is I can use all of the same sharing capabilities that I could use for my desktop or for Windows. Here I'll go up above, and here I have all of my annotation tools. Here, for example, I can draw on my phone screen using these tools. I could also spotlight to help people follow along. So I have all of the same tools. And what's really nice as well is I can also record my mobile screen as part of the recording within Zoom. So this is a nice way to get your phone onto your PC so a larger audience can see it. Tip number 12, you can share multiple windows within Zoom. How do you do that? Well, down on the bottom, once again, let's click on Share Screen. This opens up the sharing tray, and in the past, if I wanted to share a window, I would simply click on the window. If I want to share multiple windows, here I see a helpful hint telling me to press the Control key. So here I could press Control, and I could select another window, or here another window, and another window. So I can share any number of windows. I'll select these two windows for now, and then let's click on Share. Here now I can see the two windows on my desktop. Both of them have a green border around them, indicating that they're currently being shared. So I can now share any number of windows. So this way I don't have to resort back to sharing my entire desktop. If I want to switch back and forth between various windows, I can simply share all the windows that I want to share. It gives me a little bit of extra privacy. Tip number 13, you can use a whiteboard to help with brainstorming or to help with your discussion. And this is a pretty easy one to find. When you move your mouse, simply click on Share Screen, and there's an option for a whiteboard. Let's click on this. This opens up a whiteboard, and it truly is just a white background. And here, by default, it opens up all of these Zoom annotation tools. So here, I can draw on this white background. Once I'm all done, I can save the image, although I don't think this is worth saving. I just doodled a little bit here. Once I'm all done, I'll simply click on Stop Share. Tip number 14, when I'm sharing my screen in Zoom, or maybe I'm sharing a window, if I want to make it easier for my audience to follow along, I can highlight my mouse cursor. How do we do that? Well, up above, let's open up all of the sharing tools and then click on Annotate. Within Annotate, there's the option to Spotlight. Let's click on Spotlight. Here now, you'll see that there's a red circle that appears around my mouse, making it more obvious as to where my mouse is. Tip number 15, when you're sharing in Zoom, you have some amazing annotation tools to help your audience follow along and understand the points that you're making. When you're sharing your screen, go up to the Share controls on top, and over on the right-hand side, there are annotation tools. When you click on this, this exposes a whole bunch of different tools. You can insert text on your screen. You could also draw on your screen. You could insert different stamps. You could spotlight, you can erase, and you could format the different colors, the line width, also the size. Once you're all done, you could simply clear it, or you could save a copy of it. So you have some amazingly powerful annotation tools. Tip number 16, when your attendees join your meeting, you can make them wait in a waiting room. You, as the host, have to admit everyone who joins your meeting. This way you can't have random people Zoom bomb your meeting. Within the Zoom profile section, click on Settings over on the left-hand side. Within Settings, this is the very first option under Security, and it's Waiting Room. Right here, I can toggle Waiting Room on, or I can toggle it off. I'm going to turn it on. When someone attempts to join my meeting now, they'll get a message saying, "Please wait, the meeting host will let you in soon." As the meeting host, I see a message on top of my screen telling me that someone is waiting in the waiting room. I could admit them, or I could view. Let's try view and see what that looks like. Here now, I can see every single person who's in my waiting room, and I think I'd like to chat with Diego, so I'll go ahead and admit him. Let's click on this button. Here, Diego is in the meeting now. Tip number 17, in Zoom you can turn on breakout rooms, and this works even with a free Zoom account. What are breakout rooms? Well, in Zoom you might have a larger meeting, and then you can break out into smaller rooms. Once you're done with brainstorming or whatever you were doing, you can then all rejoin the larger session. Within your Zoom profile on the left-hand side, click on Settings. Within Settings, let's search for Breakout Rooms. Right here you can see breakout rooms, and we can toggle it on. Down below you have the option to assign participants when you're scheduling your meeting. For now I'm simply going to turn it on, and let's join a meeting. Back within Zoom, down on my meeting controls at the bottom, I now have an option for breakout rooms. When I click on this, this opens up a prompt, and I can define how many breakout rooms I want. I could also assign all of my attendees automatically. I could pick what rooms everyone goes in, or I could let my participants choose. Once I'm ready to go, I simply click on Create. Tip number 18, you can get nonverbal feedback from your attendees. Within your Zoom profile, on the left-hand side, click into Settings. Within Settings, let's search for Nonverbal, and that brings us down to Nonverbal Feedback. You can toggle it off, or you can toggle it on. I'm going to turn it on. I'm now in Zoom in a meeting, and when you click on Participants on the bottom, you'll now see the addition of all of these different buttons on the bottom. Let's say that the host asks a question, and you want all of your attendees to respond. Everyone could click on Yes, they could click on No, go slower, go faster, and you have many other options as well. So now you have lots of ways to get nonverbal feedback from your audience. Tip number 19, you can integrate Gmail with Zoom. Here, for instance, I have an email that says we need to chat. When I click into this email, over on the right-hand side, I have an icon for Zoom. When I click on this, I can start an immediate meeting, or I can also schedule a meeting. To add Zoom to your Gmail, at the very bottom, there's a plus icon where you can get add-ins. When I click on this, this opens up all of the different Gmail add-ins, and the very first two options are for Zoom. I see Zoom for G Suite, which is if you have a work or education account with Google. Alternatively, if you have a free Gmail account, you can click on this, and then you can install Zoom, and this way you can easily create meetings from your emails. Tip number 20, and this is the last tip of the day. Early on, Zoom got a lot of criticism for not being secure. So Zoom has invested heavily into various security features, and you can now use end-to-end encryption for your meetings. Within Settings in Security at the bottom, there's now the option to use end-to-end encryption. Let's turn this on. Here now I can choose what the default encryption type is. I could use enhanced encryption, which is the default, or now I could turn on end-to-end encryption. Once I'm all set, let's jump in a Zoom meeting. I'm now in a Zoom meeting, and I have end-to-end encryption turned on. If I go to the top left-hand corner, I see the security badge. When we click on that, down here, I can see end-to-end encryption is on. If I want to verify it, I can click on this text that says verify, and I can read these numbers to my other participants. If they have the same numbers, that verifies that end-to-end encryption is enabled. Now, the only caveat with using this feature is every one of your attendees also has to go into Settings, and they too have to turn on end-to-end encryption. So there's a little bit of legwork to get it going, but if you're going to be sharing something top secret, it's a good thing to turn on. Alright, well those were my favorite top 20 tips and tricks. If you learned some new ones, please give this video a thumbs up. To see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see me cover any other video topics, leave a note down below.